Should we need more police then?
I never said I disagree about defunding the police.
No, but you said over-policed. I don't think we have enough. So show me an example. Show me a city where we have too many police and be specific.
Well, I can't come up with any specific example.
Well, but you said that we're over-policed. You got to give me some specifics. It can't be an abstraction. You got to tell me the city in America that is over-policed, because I'd be interested to know about that city.
Well, like I said, I don't have any specific examples, but I'm going to pivot.
Because it doesn't exist, though.
I'm going to pivot really quick, if that's okay.
Before you pivot, I just want to just teach you something, Andrew. It's easy to say that you're over-policed. You got to back up the data. There's no incident in the country of any city that's over-policed. It does not exist. We have a police staffing shortage in this country. We don't have enough police, but please pivot.
What's up, beautiful people of YouTube? Hope you guys are feeling good. My name is Elario, your host, and today I'm back with another super amazing video and check out with you guys. This is called Charlie Kirk demolishes liberal with nose ring. You know the drill, guys. We talk less and we react more. Let's check this out.
So I wanted to talk with you about, again, the 1350. So earlier I did chime in when you were talking with Jackson. You said 2020 with the George Floyd protests that nobody was talking about the nuclear family, which I think that they're separate issues.
Okay, but that's fine. But can you first acknowledge that no one was talking about the nuclear family?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, great. Why do you think that no one ever talks about the nuclear family at all publicly?
Maybe a lack of importance. And I mean, obviously, it's very important that, you know, you have a father and a mother growing up. That's very crucial to childhood.
We agree.
Yes. But to get to my point, in 2020 with the George Floyd protests...
Riots.
Riots or protests. Depends.
Were they riots or protests?
All right. Well, we disagree on that, but to get to my point...
Sure.
To get to my point...
Were they mostly peaceful?
I believe so, yes.
Please let Andrew talk. Let Andrew talk. It takes a lot of courage to come up. I'm going to defend you. Please
no, it's
continue.
okay. People can disagree, but I just like to get my point off. So I think police brutality and the nuclear family are two separate issues, okay? So I think that there's over-policing in black neighborhoods. Would you agree?
Not even close. Under-policing, actually. And don't take my word for it. Again, like half of all murders in Chicago aren't even solved. That's bad, right?
Okay, but that's Chicago, okay?
Well, but again, about only 60% in Baltimore are solved. It's across the country. But Chicago is America's third largest city, New York, LA, Chicago. Let's just pause right here. In order to solve murders, you need detectives, which are police officers. So we should agree that if you commit a murder, we should find out who it is, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So half of all murders are not solved. You could fact check me on this. Chicago murder solve rate 50%. You guys can all fact check me on this. So should we need more police then?
I never said I disagree about defunding the police.
No, but you said over-policed. I don't think we have enough. So show me an example. Show me a city where we have too many police and be specific.
Well, I can't come up with any specific example.
Well, but you said that we're over-policed. You got to give me some specifics. It can't be an abstraction. You got to tell me the city in America that is over-policed, because I'd be interested to know about that city.
Well, like I said, I don't have any specific examples, but I'm going to pivot.
Because it doesn't exist, though.
I'm going to pivot really quick, if that's okay.
Before you pivot, I just want to just teach you something, Andrew. It's easy to say that you're over-policed. You got to back up the data. There's no incident in the country of any city that's over-policed. It does not exist. We have a police staffing shortage in this country. We don't have enough police, but please pivot.
Okay. So to get back, well, really to get back to my point, I think police brutality and the culture, black culture, is two separate things. I think police officers kneeling on someone's neck for 9 minutes is a completely separate incident.
What was George Floyd's cause of death?
Asphyxiation.
Actually, the original medical report by the Hennepin County Examiner said that it was a drug overdose. Did you know that?
But that was hired by the state. An independent coroner reported that it was asphyxiation.
You might be right, but if you guys love truth, you should go and dive into the Derek Chauvin court documents. There's a lot more to the George Floyd situation than anyone ever told you. It really is, and it's a great video. And I'm not even, you might be right, but there's so much more to that circumstance of George Floyd that was overdosing on drugs, right? that also, did you know that what Derek Chauvin did to George Floyd was actually in the police manual training? It was completely justified and was trained by his superiors to do. Now, let me ask you a question. How many unarmed black people, on average, are killed by police a year?
Well, I'd have to look up that statistic.
Guess.
Probably over 50%.
Yeah, it's 15 people a year. 15. And that's not my number. That's the Washington Post that came up with it and did a national crime survey. And they even were generous and they said unarmed, meaning you had a weapon nearby or you had a knife that you dropped. So you're talking about police brutality for an incident that happens 15 times a year in a country of 350 million people.
Wow,
Well,
that's that's weird.
how come? My question to you then: how come you see it so often on
You don't.
social
because
media?
that's a good question, Andrew, because you're being propagandized. You're being brainwashed is the name of this tour. And I'm here to tell you that you see it, so you actually don't see it as often as you think. This is emotional targeted videoing to have you think that something exists when it doesn't. We look at the data like, oh, it's 15 times a year. 15 times a year, and it's even lower than that. But do you know what does happen a lot every single year? Is that there's over 100,000 drug overdoses every single year. We don't talk about that. We don't.
should.
You know, we should. I totally agree, right? But yet we have this whole thing about police brutality, and no one can ever give me examples of where there's too many police, and that's okay. I'm not just picking on you. Just in general, it's easy to get caught up in the abstractions. It's easy to get caught up in the parade and in all the bedlam. But when you dive into it, you realize that it's all brainwashing and it's propaganda.
I guess what I would say in response to that is when you do your own independent research, you can find data to skew in any direction you want it to.
But it's the Washington Post. I'm not just making this stuff up. This is the left. I'm using left-wing sources here. This is not Breitbart.com or Gateway Pundit or the Charlie Kirk Show or the Daily Wire, right? This is the left-wing sources, and I'm not cherry picking because you said police brutality. So then I pinpoint, okay, how many black people are then killed unarmed by police every year? Boom, that's the number. In a population, by the way, where there's tens of millions of black Americans, it's an insignificant sum. And you know that more kids are killed in urban violence going to school or walking to the playground than blacks are killed by police? Yet we don't talk about that as much. The question then is why? Is that this is my belief, is that black America is so abused by the current mainstream media, it's abused by the Democrat Party, and they don't want black Americans to think freely or independently that they have been used as pawns by the Democrat Party for the last 60 years. That's exactly what is happening right now, and I pray people are starting to wake up. A final thought, Andrew?
I guess I don't really have anything.
That's okay. I encourage you to do this. Fact check me later. Find out what the unsolved murder rate is in Chicago. See if Charlie Kirk was right. Look at the Washington Post crime database and find out, was it really 15 unarmed blacks that were killed by police year by year? Sometimes as low as 8, sometimes it's 20, so the average is about 15, okay? Go and look at The Biggest Lie Ever Told, the George Floyd documentary. Go look at the original Hennepin County medical. Don't just take my word for it. Do that research. And in that research, if you're like, oh, dang, I was lied, use that as what we call taking the red pill. And you'll see how deep this rabbit hole goes.
100%.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Can I shake your hand?
Yeah, God bless, man. Thank you. Thank you, Andrew. Give it up for Andrew. That's not easy to do.
Okay. I did like this one. It went pretty smooth. I'd like to think about a time when anybody who has ever stepped up to the mic and talked on police brutality has ever given a rational example. I really can't think of one. And I mean, just as Charlie said, I'm not going to take his word for it. I'm honestly going to do my own research because, I mean, if what he's saying is actually true, then, oh my, there's a whole lot of propaganda in the media. Because this whole idea of police brutality is things we see even in the movies. Like, they warp it into the movies and you just be like, okay, yeah, this sort of thing is happening. Because most people feel like a movie idea is based on real life. You see it even in the media. And the thing is, I don't think no one really knows the full extent of the George Floyd story. And although I really don't see uh, a connection between the George Floyd story and nuclear families, but I do agree to both of them. That is Charlie and this Andrew. I do agree with them when I say that the issue of drug intake and overdose should actually be more looked into than police brutality, because the death of one, or the death caused by one, is more evident, seemingly evident, than the other. In fact, the other one is more based on theories and radical beliefs and ideas. So this whole matter of race, I believe it should just be dropped. There are real issues in society that really need to be looked into, that need to be talked about, that need to be discussed to find a solution to, and not police brutality based on skin color that, according to Charlie's facts here, are barely existent. And one thing I love with Charlie Kirk is that he gives you facts with evidence. He doesn't just push forth assumptions. No, he makes sure that what he's saying, when you look it up, you're actually gonna find it there staring at you. I just wish that most people would just let go of some things and focus on things more positive. I just wish that some people would stop trying to divide the nation with lies, because basically this whole police brutality stuff, if it's the way Charlie put it, then what they are doing is really messed up. Please guys, tell us what you think about this video in the comment section. And please do well to leave a thumbs up at the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe.